Hello.
Hello.
Welcome, everyone.
Hey,
Hi,
Glenda.
Glendon. So
Good to
good to
see
see
you.
you. And Suni. Suni is so fierce. She was biking from Denmark to Paris
That's incredible.
just on a holiday. Let's bike to Paris. Hi, Jason. Good to see you.
Hi, Riska.
Guiska and Claire. Gorgeous
Hello.
Claire.
Hi, Mark.
It's the first time you're
Julia.
here. Welcome.
Uh, and
And
Anya.
Jana and Anya. Oh, good to see you here, Anya. Really nice talking to you at the
Hey, Amit.
Awakening Together.
Glad you could make it.
And I went, hi.
Um,
And Arun.
hello. I love lots of new faces this week.
It's so
It's
nice
wonderful.
with all the new people. Um, we're really happy that you're here. The way that it works is that if you have any questions, if there's anything that is going on your path right now that you would like help with, support with, that you would like to do an inquiry about, then you just raise your virtual hand and then we, yeah, talk through it. Um, Everything is recorded and it's going up on our Unfettered Mindfulness channel,
Yep.
where we have all the inquiries and all the meditations that you need for everything. That's where it goes up on Friday, I think it
Well,
is.
it depends. It usually goes up for a couple
For
days for
members
members of the
now,
channel, and then yeah, I think depending on how we have stuff, it's usually around
usually a
3.
Friday.
Yeah.
And if you do not want what we're talking about with you to be on YouTube, then we can just pause the recording, which also means you don't have a recording of what we're talking about, but we can pause it if you prefer that. Um, yeah, and practical stuff. Do we have any practical? Yeah, we actually have a
Yeah.
practical stuff. We were interviewed by Awakening Together. We were participating at the satsang, and we it was really
Yeah.
lovely. Yeah, we really, really
Nice.
enjoyed that. Amazing community.
Nice time.
And then after the satsang we had, they had they have a thing where they watch it and then they meet and debate about it, talk about their takeaway. And we thought that was such a great idea
Yeah.
because whatever lesson you go through, you listen to the lesson with your ears. You understand what is said in your bubble of reality. You can only understand what you know about yourself. And that's one of the reasons why it can be so difficult to work with this on your own, because you're blind. You're simply blind to what is outside of your perception, what is outside of your bubble of reality. So I floated the idea in our Discord community if you guys would like to do that as well. So because we have the full curriculum with all the lessons, it could be an opportunity where you guys decide on a lesson that you would like to work with. Let's say the one about blaming, shaming, complaining, and explaining. And then you listen to the lesson on YouTube, and during the week, you are very aware of how many times you're blaming, shaming, complaining, and explaining towards other people, but also towards yourself, also about your inner dialogue. And you really, really work with it. You make notes, you do inquiries about it, feel into what is this about, and then you meet with the group and then you talk it through. Then you share what was your takeaway, and you will hear from other people that have worked with the same lesson that they have a completely different take on it. And that is giving you so many new tools because you can never find a solution for yourself. You know, if you if you if you do something, you either do as you have always done or you do the exact opposite, which is the same because it has the same starting point. So let's say that you always react with fear. So now I'm running away from everything. I'm not confronting anything. So now I want to be fearless. I'm just bungee jumping every Monday and I'm, doing all the things that normally would make me really scared. But you see that the starting point is the same. The starting point is fear. Nothing has changed. If you do what you always have done or you do the exact opposite, nothing has changed because the starting point is the same. And that is where a group is so useful because somebody will give you an idea of something that you would never have chosen yourself. And that would be your new starting point. That is like 45 degrees to the left, a bit different than what you would have done. And that changes everything. That is why community is so important. And we spoke in the group, and Cleona, she offered to be the one that is hosting. My suggestion is that it's not the same host every time, so it's not landing on someone's shoulder, but it is a community experience. It's something you do as a community. And if you're interested in participating in those lesson meetings, then go to our Discord, and then Cleona, she will pick up the gauntlet, and you guys can start to work much more intensely with the entire curriculum if you would be interested in that. So that's on Discord. If you're not in Discord already, Discord is our hive mind community. It's where all the feathers are discussed. It's where every single personal experience that you have is discussed, and you have the entire community. You get access to Discord via Todd. He's the gatekeeper. So send an email to Todd on unfetteredmindfulness@gmail.com, and he will let you in.
Yes.
You would need to share a little bit about yourself if we don't already know you. We're very protective of the community, and all of this, everything I've talked about now, is free, absolutely free. We want to, yeah, bring peace to the world, one awakening at a time, and we're so happy that you're part of that. So yeah, I think that was the practical stuff.
Yeah. Oh, also, just that we have, for anybody who is a member of POK or is not a member of the POK community,
true.
we have a talk coming up on September 7th there. We meet there every 2 months or so, and do a little talk. And this time is going to be basically a Q&A style, a little bit about sort of self-forgiveness and self-care for the non-self. And then it's fundamentally a Q&A about those kinds of topics. So if you are not a member of POK, again, reach out to me. I will send you Patty Levin's email address, and you can write to her to gain access to that community. Also, an amazing community where they have people. I mean, it's almost like every day, or literally every day, they have either meetings or speakers of all different parts of the spiritual
world.
Yeah.
The umbrella, the umbrella of spirituality.
Yeah, they cover
They have
all the
meetings for
basics.
everything there.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's on the 7th that we do that.
Yeah, it's a Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern time.
And the theme for that was because I made a video where I talk about self-forgiveness for the non-self. And a lot of people reacted to, but if there is no I, there is no self, what is there to forgive? And we was like, ooh, that is great. So we're going to talk about that. But it is that we kind of throw it out there, and then it's all the questions that you guys might have about it. And the next inquiry meeting that we have these meetings once a month, and the next one is on the 23rd of September. Same time and same link.
Yes. All right.
I think that was the
I
practical
think
stuff.
we've gotten everything out of the way.
Yeah.
So now, effectively, if you have a question or something that you want to bring up, discuss, work through, you can raise your virtual hand, and we will just kind of go in order.
And we're happy to hear from everyone, but we prefer that all you new people get a chance to ask questions or anything that might come up. All people are welcome to ask as well.
Yes. And are you up for the full thing today, or she's been a little under?
I've been in autistic overwhelm because anyone on the spectrum, you will know our fridge leaked water, damaged the floor. They had to come in. Strange people coming into our house, breaking up the floorboards, putting those industrial dehumidifiers and fans in the kitchen. I have had headphones and sunglasses on for a week, and been mono-eating potato and corn, and done everything that I could, to manage my autism as well as possible. So I'm Todd, he's sitting and being heavy on me and and all of that. But it might also be that I suddenly go like, okay, you guys, I'm done. And then we're done for today.
Yeah. So
We
just
just
a
want to
heads
say
up.
thank you for that.
Yeah. An abnormal day. Normally we have no backstop unless I have a session afterwards, so we can go 3.5 hours sometimes.
We
Um,
have an autistic
it,
backstop
yeah.
today.
So if there are people in line and she's just totally done, I'm sorry, we will have to get to you another time. But we appreciate your understanding. Okay, let's start. Kate raised her hand, and let's see. So we need to
Thank
speak.
you for that, babe.
Yeah, of course. That's why.
There we go.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
How are you?
So I've not talked to you before. It's lovely to actually see you in real life, and yeah, thank you for everything that you do. I'm also in autistic complete overwhelm. To be honest,
Oh, yeah.
there's going to be years. I'm probably going to spew out a load of thoughts and bollocks.
Off you
All
go.
right.
Off you go.
Get ready. So this has been a roller coaster. Um, I was really struggling through last summer, and I got to the point where I just surrendered. And then Angelo turned up on my YouTube feed, and the second video I watched, I had a surprise huge brain pop. And then there were more after that. It happened really fast, so a lot, one after the other. And I didn't even know what non-duality was. My background has been in kind of Christian mysticism and Kabbalah, and so I did not expect that to happen. This has been a huge shock. So I had two months of bliss, peace, just complete zen, and then the ego came back with Japanese fucking weaponry. And so I started all the shadow work, I started psychosynthesis and craniosacral therapy, and I've been having EMDR, which has been amazing. And I started Fetters, so I did 1 and 2, and there's still a load of doubt, so I'm kind of hanging around, just watching that before I move on. Yeah, and then I was lucky enough to win a circling day with Angelo a couple of weeks ago, so I did that, and again that was huge. So much has shifted. And then I had a retreat, so I went on an in-person retreat again with him, and obviously it's just it's a huge, it's a lot, it's all happening, as he would say, like, I am definitely in the lion's mouth. So much of what I used to care about has just gone. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know anything anymore. And I know that, in some ways, asking questions is a complete waste of time. I know that I can't do anything. I know there is no I know there is no control. But what's happening a lot at the moment, the thoughts are, I have a seeming decision that I have to make. I've been seeing this therapist. He does psychosynthesis and craniosacral therapy. It's a lot of money which could be maybe better spent seeing a non-dual teacher. It doesn't feel like it's particularly useful at the moment. He's got a Buddhist background, so I can talk about what's happening to me and kind of a spiritual process to some extent. But, a lot of what I say, he will then say, oh, it's your delusions and your stories. So there's a lot of the issues that I'm having with him as a therapist is because of the autism. That I don't understand the rules. I don't understand what I can or cannot say. So I'm just really questioning. Like, I've already watched myself kind of, if I continue from, I've been to see him today, if I continue seeing this person, I'm going to have to change a day. I've already watched myself write the new appointment time in my diary. But still the thoughts are going on. A lot of it is to do with this, pushing a lot of buttons about money, about making a responsible decision, making an efficient use of my time, wanting autistically to plan what's going to happen for the future, like every day, trying to stick to a rigid schedule. So yeah, this human decision is just pushing a load of buttons. So I think really the question is like, how useful is, I know the craniosacral therapy is helping, but I don't need to see him for that. How useful is like a talking therapy for me at this point?
Okay, there's so many things in what you say, and what is your final question is not the most important thing to talk about, actually. So if you would be okay with us not replying your question, because there's so many other stuff that is much more interesting to talk about. Whether talk therapy is efficient or not depends on the person and the time of it's all about timing and the person. We don't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
What is more interesting is that you said that you kind of like you had that awakening. You went to Angelo to his retreat or saw his video online. Yeah, saw his video online. And then there was that opening where you really just understood that there is no separate self anywhere. And now you are in a position where there's lots of selfing happening. And you also said that you had that feeling that you don't know yourself anymore, that things that you really like, it's not interesting anymore. And you are kind of like floating in that confusing space where you don't know where to land, and you don't know what you want or what you don't want. And it's just confusion. And what it sounds to me is that you're trying to find a solution with a starting point and a person that is not here anymore. The person that you were a year ago would find solutions the way that you're trying to find solutions now. And it's a mismatch. It doesn't fit anymore. Because once you have really understood that whatever you perceive as reality, it's just your perception. It's not real. It's not truth. It's just your perception. That kind of makes us humble, and it makes us mute in a way that you cannot lean on any previous experience you have had to find your solution, because it's not you know that would not find anything useful for you. So if you come back to the initial understanding that you had, that whatever's your perception is just your perception, that means that you right now have to breathe. You have to come back to your body right now, because your mind is creating a scenario as if you can see into the future, as if you can think your way out of if it's a good idea to go to the therapist or not. You can't. The only thing that is available for you right now is, how does it feel to be Kate in your body right now?
It feels like I just feel like a whirlwind of energy. I feel like
exactly. Feel your feet. Feel your feet.
feet.
Feel your feet. And breathe deeply. Make an inhalation. And on the top, breathe even more. Yeah. Now you're here. And in this moment right now, where you're sitting with us and you right now just feel your feet. In this moment, there's nothing that is missing. There's nothing about you that needs to be different. You're not lacking in any way. You cannot become anything better than what is right now, because what is right now is the only thing that is presenting itself. So if you keep breathing and you keep coming back to what is alive in you right now. For example, you might feel, I can see the way that you breathe, that you feel uneasy around the solar plexus. So I would like for you to keep relaxing your shoulders. Relaxing your shoulders. Breathe into that uncomfortableness that you have in the solar plexus. And then just notice, what does that do? Breathing into that, what happens in your body? Not so much in your mind, and not so much in the feelings and in the emotions and all of that come up, because that is just another thought. Feelings and emotions are thoughts. So what is arising in your body right now when you just sit here and breathe into the solar plexus, and you're just present right now? What happens in your body?
Well, everything is still really swimmy. I want to say everything is still really turbulent, but that's just a thought.
Yeah, because turbulent is in a comparison with something that is not turbulent. So what does turbulent actually mean? How does that feel, turbulent?
It's just very energetic.
Yeah, is that energy, is it okay for it to be there? Because when you say it's very energetic and the way you hold your hands, it's almost as if you're pushing it away. It's too much, it's too much. But that is a starting point. That is an idea that energy is too much. But instead of like pushing it away, could you kind of like just allow that energy to be there? Can that energy be there? Can you be in a body where that is present? Not
But it can, but it means that I can't make the most out of our conversation because everything is just so overwhelming.
But exactly. So you think that you need to be anything different than what you are right now to make the most out of the conversation.
Autistic. I've been taught my whole life that I need to be somebody different.
I know, there's a fucking
I've
lie.
had that rammed into me.
It's a lie. It's a lie.
I've spent my entire life trying to craft a persona that is acceptable to people around me. And
it's
it was bullshit.
Exhausting. It is bullshit. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting. And I completely understand. That was told to you by people who did not understand how it was to be Kate. And nobody understands that. Nobody understands that. Only you do. You're the only one who can be you. And you can be you magnificently if you stop having all the masks on. When you believe that the energy you feel is too much, it's like Kate is too much. Be here instead, receive that. What does it actually mean to be Kate? What does that actually feel like? if there is no judgment, but if there's no judgment, if whatever is showing up is okay, there is no judgment, whatever is showing up is okay. How does it feel to be you then?
Thoughts, yeah, but.
Is that okay? Can those thoughts come up? Can you can you meet every thought and saying, thank you very much, you protected me so far. Right now, I'm just allowing Kate to be Kate. I am magnificently autistic. There's nothing about me that needs to change. There's nothing that needs to be different. I am like I am. I've been taught to put on a mask. Do I really have to? Because you're living your life as if you can be better than who you are.
Yeah.
You can't.
That's what the whole spiritual search was all about.
I know. It's what Todd writes about in his book, where he talks about that the spiritual search, it's still the legal and allowed type of suicide. The one I am needs to go, something better needs to arrive.
Yeah, suicide by non-duality.
Yeah, exactly. What we're telling you is that is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. What will happen is that you start to open up and accept what is. There is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're lovely the way that you are. Be Be you. Allow you to be the way that you are. And when you feel contract in the solar plexus, because I can see on you, it's back.
It's back, yeah.
Yeah. Breathe into that. And then calm yourself. Calm your inner child. Tell yourself, it's okay. It's okay. I'm autistic and I love you. Do you hold against me that I'm an autist?
No.
No. Why do you hold against you that you are? Why are you so fucking special that you need to be different? If it's okay,
I'm still trying to get validation and connection.
it will not happen. You will never find that outside of you. You will never find validation and connection outside of you. Because when you find it outside of you, if you don't have it on the inside, you do not recognize it when you find it on the outside.
And that's not a uniquely autistic thing.
No,
It's something
that's
we
for
hear from
everyone.
everybody across the board.
But you need validation and connection with you. You need to love you. Otherwise, when somebody else tells it to you, you don't believe it. I see you and I hear you. But if you do not hear and see you, you don't even know what I talk about when I say that I see you and hear you. You will have an idea, yeah, but you don't really know me. That is you talking to you. So even when you receive validation, 100% validation, no judgment, you can't even receive it because you are full of judgment. You need to absolutely unconditionally accept anything that comes up. And that is not only for people on the spectrum, this is for everyone. You need to absolutely unconditionally accept everything about you, anything that comes up. And then you think, oh, about the neighbor, love that. Oh, wow, where did that come from, sweetheart? Love that without judging it. You're not condoning, you're just accepting what is coming up, what is here. It's a bundle of causes and conditions that has been shaped ever since you were in the womb. Being on your case about you being the way that you are is unfair.
I don't know how to love me.
Oh,
Sorry, your mic is way down.
Your sound went.
I said I don't know how to love me.
I understand. You start by one thing at a time. You start by loving the next thought. I can't do that. Okay, I hear you. I love that. Yeah.
Can you start? Obviously, I don't know enough about your history, but if love seems like too much of a jump to start with, can you start with acceptance first? Accepting that this next thought is here. Accepting that whatever you see in the mirror or see in your mind's eye is the way that it is. Can you first have an acknowledgement that it is, and then accept that it is, and then start to make that bridge to actually loving it? It might help to baby step your way towards that. Because if you're at odds with you being the way that you are in this moment and everything being the way that it is in this moment, then it's very hard to love that because you're already at war with it. So
Yeah, I'm just a ball of resistance. I'm just like I just feel, the knot in my stomach is just like a huge no.
Yeah. The one of the most important things when we feel resistance is not to resist the resistance.
Yeah.
Because that just becomes an issue and an issue and an issue and an issue. Instead, when you feel the resistance, can you allow the resistance to be there? I have a ball of resistance in my stomach. Can I be in a body where I feel this resistance? So I'm stopping, I'm ending the judgment. I'm ending the wanting to be different. I'm just allowing the resistance to be here. You don't need to love the situation. You don't need to love yourself, but you stop resisting the resistance. And then you just sit with that resistance. What does that mean? How does it feel to be in resistance? There's just a full stop for everything on all, and I don't want to speak with anyone. I don't want to do anything. I don't want anything. There's just resistance to everything. Okay, can you be with that? That is, for example, I have come to learn my autism, and I'm at a point now where I love my tism. I love my tism. I think it's a great tism I have. But it's also that I know that when I'm overwhelmed, then there are different things I can do to support myself. Now, when we have workers in the house and all the noise and everything is different. I mean, the fridge is in a different place in the kitchen than it's supposed to be. Have you any idea how stressful that is? So what I do is I shut down all the things that I know is overwhelm. And that's, for example, mixing food that is of different consistency. So I don't do that because just having that experience with different consistencies in my mouth, it's way too overwhelming. So I don't. It's really just instead of being like, oh, don't be silly, Billy. You can eat that curry and it's delicious and you like it. Way too many flavors. Not happening. There needs to be one flavor, one consistency, and that's all I can deal with. As long as the fridge is in the wrong position, I cannot eat anything but potatoes. So it's that really just acknowledging what is here without fighting it. It's okay. It's okay.
You ended by asking about whether talk therapy would be useful or not. And again, I second Pernilla's opinion that, we don't know for sure for you what's best. But on that kind of front, what I would recommend is questioning all of these thoughts and positions that you have about the way that things are and the way that they should be. And that's something where you can effectively be your own therapist. You just have to notice that these are going on when they happen. That I am a ball of resistance. Okay, but ask into that then too. Again, not to force the going against the resistance, but what am I resisting right now? See if you can take things from the abstract of just it's one giant no to see if you can figure out, well, what am I actually resisting? Is there something specific here which I have maybe not been aware of, or maybe just haven't named, or it could also be that there is tension in the body. And so the idea of resistance and no is arising in response to that. A lot of times what we have are kind of secondary assumptions about what we're experiencing based on relatively unrelated things that are going on in the body or things in the mind. So becoming more and more aware of that. And again, I don't know your background as much. You said that you came from sort of a Christian mysticism, but hadn't been aware of non-duality. So I don't know. Have you done a lot of meditation or inquiry or anything like that before?
Yeah, a lot.
Oh, you're every now and then your microphone goes way down and I can't hear.
It's a cheap laptop. Sorry. Yeah,
That's
I've
okay.
done lots of
Okay.
meditation and
So are you pretty aware of when you're thinking and that you're thinking and that you're not having identification with those thoughts in the moment, so you can kind of be sort of uh, have some sort of detachment and perspective on those thoughts?
yeah, I think it's I used to be very thought orientated. I used to be
Yeah.
in my head an awful lot. Um, but I've done enough meditation over the last few months to know that my thoughts are not helpful.
Mm.
You know, that it's absolutely pointless thinking about anything.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
but it's also because we have this tendency to go like, okay, but that's just ego. I don't need the ego, out with the bathwater. And that is not helpful either, because that is giving a power to thoughts that thoughts don't have. Do you know what I mean? That if you have that, but I'm not giving any credence to thoughts at all, so I'm just not noticing them at all. That is giving them a power which they don't have. Like you can, yeah.
Well, no, go ahead.
You can be curious and inquisitive to a thought. You don't have to believe it, but you can be inquisitive to what is that thought that you have. For example, the contraction you keep having in the solar plexus, right?
Yeah.
Where you don't breathe.
Yeah.
What is that contraction telling you? Is it telling you there's something wrong with you, or this situation is dangerous, or what is that contraction trying to tell you? And if you have that, I have no idea. I don't know. Then next time you feel the contraction, then you just kind to it. Okay, I just noticed I'm not breathing. There we go. Now I'm breathing, and now it's slowly starting to evaporate, that contraction. And at some point, you might know what that contraction is about. Oh, yeah, it's every time I feel shameful or guilty or fearful. Then the contraction happens. Okay, how would I meet another person that is shameful, guilty, or fearful? With lots of love and compassion. Okay, can I feel love and compassion to me every time I feel this contraction? So you just slowly be your own therapist, slowly move the underlying beliefs that you have about that contraction. And I want to say that in the curriculum, in the second Fetter and the fourth and the fifth, you have all the material you need to deal with all this.
I would love to have you come back and speak another time in more depth. There was so much there,
And there's so many more things
right.
we want to talk about.
It's the last thing though that I feel is worth mentioning. This is a little bit more general kind of thing, but especially when you're new to or newish to the non-duality world and all of this, be very careful about taking on any beliefs. And I mean that in you started by, presumably you felt like you were Kate and a self and all of that for most of the years of your life. And then you watched an Angelo video and had some experiences which then shifted. So now you don't know who to be anymore, you know. But what I heard when you first said that is that it sounds like there's now a clinging to the non-dual idea that Kate doesn't exist and that the self doesn't exist. But yet it still feels like Kate and the self are still there, sometimes, at least. Oh, sorry, your mic again.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if there's a discrepancy there, if you take on the belief that either the ego is bad or it doesn't really exist or Kate doesn't really exist and I shouldn't be having this or I should be either in one camp or the other and just pick a side, all of those are beliefs that have nothing to do with the reality of this moment. All you have to do is recognize, oh, isn't that funny? That selfing mechanism is running again. Oh, yeah, it's been there for however many decades you've been alive. Yeah, okay, that's on. Isn't it interesting that it feels like there's a self here, but it didn't feel like that yesterday? That's a curious phenomenon. It's not a fault of yours. It's not that one is good, the other is bad, that you've done something wrong, that you've done something right. None of that makes any sense. This is just a change in processing, which is kind of a spectrum of itself of different, variations of self-awareness to self-identification, identification with thought, to having a feeling of like your narrative self versus not having your feeling of narrative self. And there's a long spectrum of how much of that you feel at any given moment. And it's not that any of those are inherently good or bad, right or wrong, more or less spiritually evolved. It's our purpose here is to just become aware that none of these are inherently true. That when the feeling of self is there, that is not inherently a true fundamental fact that Kate exists the way I think she exists right now. And when that feeling of Kate is gone, the idea that Kate doesn't exist and the self doesn't exist and all of that is not inherently true either, because it did in a way 5 minutes before, and it might again 5 minutes later. What is true right now when you're not feeling it is that that feeling of Kate does not always exist. That belief in a Kate, that self narrative about my whole life does not always hold true. Sometimes it falls away. Instead of taking on any new beliefs that you should be on some stairway path that's bringing you someplace and you're failing if you don't succeed in a certain thing, keep coming back to what's here and just remain curious about what you're feeling. If thoughts are there and they're believed in, just notice that thoughts are there and they're believed in, and notice that they seem sticky for some reason. Keeping that kind of meta awareness about it so that you're aware when it's happening is itself keeping you from getting completely mired in the delusion. So maintaining that kind of mindful stature, even when the feeling of Kate is completely on, is still keeping you from being in the, absolutely mired in the suffering of believing the full impact of the story.
Yeah, there's no, I can't believe the story anymore.
Good. So, but just be very aware if any of that is also intellectual.
Yeah.
If it still feels like the story is true, if you have an emotional resonance with the story, we also don't want to bypass and deny that. It's okay to recognize that there is still some emotional binding there. There is still something, even if there is a kind of awareness that is somewhat detached enough that I'm aware that I'm not fully that story, not fully that self, but if there's an emotional attachment to it, something that really comes up and feels very sticky about it,
It's
that
okay.
it's okay, and it's still worth investigating and working with and not just bypassing away. Yeah.
And also, just because you feel it and you feel identified doesn't mean that it's real or true.
Right.
You're not, stepping in and out of existence like that. It's not like suddenly there's a Kate and then there's not a Kate. That feeling that you're identifying, it's just a feeling, it's just a thought. It's okay. We would love for you to come back
Yeah.
so we can, pick up
Yeah.
again. And if you work with this and keep rewatching this over and over, then you will definitely, have lots of experience, and we would love to hear about from you next time. Next time is on the 7th, where it's actually also about this
Okay.
at POK,
Yeah.
and then it's the 23rd of September. So we would love to meet you there as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being brave and
Thank
jumping
you.
into this. Thank
Okay.
It's
you.
really been a
Thank you.
pleasure. Thank you.
Okay is a community called Perfectly Okay. It's a community that has
Well, it started as a finder's course community, and
yeah,
then they've kind of branched out and just sort of separated themselves a bit,
yeah,
and they kind of have everybody from the spiritual traditions,
yeah.
quite a few
But
spiritual
but and
traditions and
and
non-dual
it's not
traditions.
something that we are running or anything, but
No.
but you can get in contact with it via Patty Levine.
Yeah.
You have her email in Discord, and Todd, he can also send it to you.
Yeah, and like I said, if you have gotten here because you've written to me for the link to here, it's generally I'm always putting it at the bottom of the emails now to let you know when those are too. So,
Yeah.
hi, Susanna.
This is Anna.
I'm glad you could be here. Um, thank-
Hi, I'm sorry if I'm jumping over anyone's time.
Oh,
oh, it's
you are.
okay.
I think it's okay.
It's okay.
So,
Oh,
I've been doing Better One and following along with Pernilla's videos, which I've become obsessed with now, which is a good thing. But what has been happening is when I'm deliberately looking for times when I'm selfing,
yeah.
um, the overwhelming feeling of being back to when I'm being sexually assaulted by my grandfather
Mm,
comes up, and then this intense feeling of hatred, self-hatred, recrimination, shame, all of that also comes up. And then I became really angry at myself for selfing. It's like,
Yeah.
why would you self? Why are you falling into this? And it's been becoming very problematic at work when I'm catching myself selfing. And I'm not blaming anyone, but Daryl had mentioned, my toxic starting points. Like he mentions, he mentioned them quite frequently for a bit, and so I started thinking maybe my toxic starting point is coming up at the same time, or is it the selfing is selfing on top of the selfing?
Yeah.
So basically, that's
Yeah,
what.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 The first thing I want to say is that I completely get that when you start to work with, and particularly when you really dive deep into it, we have for everybody else, we have that first Fetter course. You have no first. Let me start. I'm starting to get brain tired, so I'm being a bit humbly
Sorry.
in what I'm saying to everyone. But here we go. On our homepage, theawakeningcurriculum.com, you have all material you need for all the fetters. You don't need to pay anything or buy anything. It's freely available for everyone, and there is so much written material as well. We have started now to create a first fetter course. So that is something you buy for $50, and it's where you dive deeply into one of the fetters. And that is what Susanna is talking about. That she has bought the course and she's doing those deep dives, and it's really, really intense. If there's any kind of lingering self, or if you're just starting out and working with the self, it's like you're pulling away all blankets, you're pulling away the blanket you're standing on, and you're just floating in that free, open experience of what you think is reality. And what happens when we do that, when we have trauma, like it sounds clearly like you have, is that every single protective mechanism that you have in place is gonna be on alert. Because this can be done, lovingly and compassionately and kindly. But if we have traumas, that is rarely how we meet ourselves. We meet
Well, you
ourselves,
got that right.
yeah. And it's like if we're not careful, we become the perpetrator towards
Mhm.
ourselves. And it sounds to me that like that is what is happening. That
Okay.
you are both the victim and the perpetrator in your own created scenario. And then the perpetrator gets angry at the victim for feeling.
Mhm.
And then the victim feels even more shameful and guilty. And the perpetrator say, "What the fuck? You're supposed to be more enlightened than this." And then it's
Mhm.
just going like that. And it's because you're outplaying your trauma in you. You're reliving the trauma in you by becoming the perpetrator.
I see.
So breathe. Sweet Susanna, please breathe. Please breathe.
Well, it makes sense because I have, those thoughts have come up like you've done so much inquiry.
Yeah.
You have seen
And
past
well
the
done.
self.
And well done.
Yeah.
You're not undoing it, but you're not
Yeah.
undoing it. You're
Okay.
at the next level.
Okay.
You're at the 2.1 level now.
Okay.
So the next level is that yes, you have a lot of tools in your tool belt, but right now none of that is helpful. The
Right.
only thing that is helpful right now is love, compassion, and kindness. Because
Okay.
right now the victim is there. You remember all the victimization you experienced. That needs to be met with the love and compassion and kindness that it was never met with. All the tools in the tool belts are not doing anything. They're not doing you any favor right now.
Right.
It's simply breathing. It's being with your body. It's putting a hand on your heart, telling yourself, I love you. It's squeezing your arms. You can do that with me now. Squeeze your
Yeah.
arms. Go, I feel you. I feel you. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
And whenever you have that feeling of it's just getting too much, too much, too much, I would love for you to become aware of everything beyond that. Like Todd, he
Okay.
has an amazing poem that I keep repeating, where he talks about, and for you guys that have heard this before, I know you're tired of hearing it, but I really love this metaphor. Is that he describes that he's sitting in a red room, and there's a red sofa and red table and red walls and red floor carpet and red ceiling. Everything is just red. The only thing that is filling up his entire world is that red. That is a bit like you have now. You have just anger. There's just anger and frustration. It's the only thing that is there. But in the next scene in that poem, he's describing a landscape that he's floating over. And I see it like, with mountains and fields, and there's an ocean in the background, and there's clouds and there's birds, and it's just the entire world. And on that field beneath him, there is one red poppy flower. And that was what used to be his entire experience, where
I see.
everything is red. For you, it feels like everything is anger and frustration. That is just a little poppy flower standing in a huge field. So become aware of everything else.
I see. It's bringing tears to my eyes.
And that squeezing exercise, it ends here. It ends here. It's only here. If you squeeze your arms right now, if all of you do that, if you squeeze your arms right now, notice how that squeeze feels, because you can feel it on the inside, right? You can feel the squeeze on the inside. Now notice what is outside of the squeeze. Keep squeezing. What is on the other side of the squeeze? Well, for me, there's Todd, there's our living room, all my plants, there's you guys sitting in the entire world around us here. There's clouds and there's trees. That is outside of the squeeze. And it's a bit that I would like for you to become aware of. Whatever you think is taking up everything, it's not though. It's not. It's just an experience.
Should I psychoanalyze why this is happening?
No.
Like, why is this?
Does it matter? Does it matter?
No, it doesn't at all. But I'm like,
no.
It's the ego. It's the ego trying to reassert itself.
What you're trying to do is to take a physical experience and make it logical, intellectual, and cognitive.
Right.
Your suffering is not there. Your suffering is in the body.
You're right.
Stay in your body. Stay in your body.
Okay. Okay.
You want to say?
Yeah. Well, I'm just curious. While we have you here, the sort of looking for selfing that you've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me more about how you've been going about that?
Okay.
What? Because there are a couple things that I'm just so you know that I'm looking for. Is that curious of the actual practice, but also that well let me wait. Sorry.
Okay.
let me hear
So,
first.
I'll give you an example. This was particularly painful. So the other day at work, several of my team members took off. They just left to go do things that weren't work related while I'm still working.
Yep.
That's not
And
fair.
so I thought, if I was in charge, I'd do this and this, and this is wrong. And then I thought, oh, okay, that's selfing. I am thinking I know what's right. And whoosh, all of a sudden, I felt baby Susanna, the 6-year-old Susanna, that was, having things done to that person. Like there were two Susannas there. There was the survivor Susanna, and then there's the Susanna watching what was happening.
Yeah.
And so all that came up, and then this intense anger came up toward me, like, why am I selfing? I am selfing. I am thinking I know better, and that my boss should be doing something about this. And if I would, why am I selfing when I know this is not me? I'm not even this person. I'm not even Susanna.
What I hear though is exactly what you had pointed out in the beginning of that. You went from a situation in which you were effectively with the coworkers feeling victimized,
Yeah.
It was essentially starting out from a selfing standpoint in that way. It's that
Right.
it's triggering this feeling of victimization. And just like we have with everything, you uh smell apple pie and you remember a particular incident, right? We have when the body is in a certain state or the brain is in a certain state, it remembers similar states. And so I
Right.
suspect that anytime you have one of those sort of victimized feelings or thoughts, you're going back to one of the strongest memories of being in that position of powerlessness, victimization, that sort of thing. The sad irony is, as Pernilla pointed out, that the go-to is then to victimize yourself and start beating
Right.
yourself up and abusing yourself in why are you experiencing these things. It's so I second what you say, that the key there isn't to vilify the selfing in that case. It's to recognize that this is just a symptom
Mhm.
of the system working the way that it does, and
I
because
see.
of the conditioning of the system.
I see.
This isn't a fault of yours that you are doing something wrong, that this memory comes up and the body feels a certain thing. This is just the way that the body is conditioned at this point. And this is something that is still,
It's really that
yeah.
whatever brain signals are fired together are wired together.
Yeah.
So
I
when
see.
you were victimized as a child, when you now are victimized, you have to stay to work. The other ones are allowed to leave. That is you being in a victim position. So you
I
are
see.
absolutely right. It is unfair. It is unfair. And it is not right that you should stay at work and the
Hmm.
other ones they're allowed to leave. Just like it's not fair that you experience what you experience with your grandfather. Both of
Right.
them are unfair. But
Right.
you trying to make it okay
Mhm.
is the perpetrator role.
Mhm.
It's not okay that you have to stay when everybody else are leaving. It's a completely valid feeling having that. That's not okay. Why can they
Right.
leave and I can't leave? That's a completely valid feeling. Just
Right.
like as a child being angry, it's a completely valid feeling. But you need
Sure.
to be okay with what comes up, just like we talked about in the beginning. You need to be okay with whatever feeling is presenting itself, because otherwise you become the perpetrator.
I
You're
see.
telling Susanna that it's not okay, that she should
Right.
just eat it up.
Hmm.
That is unfair.
Yeah. Wow. There's so many layers.
Yes.
There are. And also
And
Yeah.
well, I was saying also the fact that because we have to sort of temporarily take on a bunch of beliefs in the non-dual world about selfing being wrong and selfing being, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
then we start to live through those, but those aren't permanent beliefs either. Those aren't permanent truths. So
Right.
really, when you start beating yourself up about why am I selfing again, that's vilifying this behavior, which I don't know if you heard when I was speaking to Kate, but it's like that same idea that this is the way that our minds and bodies work. And it doesn't mean, like, if you have a feeling of a self showing up or a feeling of self-concern showing up, that itself is not the sign of some, spiritual unevolved state or something. This is just the way that the system has been designed to work, and it has always worked. What we're doing
Mhm.
is just seeing through what we have believed to be the truth of that functioning. It's not. There are other ways to experience the world, and it's just a curious alternative to viewing the world where we start out believing that everything we experience is absolutely the way that I think it is. It's absolutely real. It's all about me. I'm in the center of everything. And we create that whole narrative that causes a lot of suffering for us. That's how
Sure
we end
does.
up with worrying about sickness, old age, and death. That's how we worry about my esteem and position in society and all of that. All we're doing is basically devaluing that position by seeing that we can actually experience it from the opposite standpoint. We can experience all of this without me being in the center or me being felt at all. And just because you have lived for decades believing one thing, it takes a long time for many of us to decondition that, to go back to the
Right.
other way. And it's not always a permanent thing either. You're going to be flipping back and forth because I mean, effectively, I think we're using networks of the brain that need to be rewired. They
Mm.
need to actually have, it takes time and practice to do that. So the more you're engaging with these things, the more likely that is to happen.
And I just want to say, and exactly that rewiring is also why it's important, and this goes to everyone, is why it's so important always to call on compassion and kindness towards yourself.
Yeah.
You are in the midst of rewiring your brain. You need to be compassionate and kind towards yourself over and over and over and over again. Because otherwise you're not rewiring anything. Then it's just a peak experience like doing psychedelics. You need to really integrate it into your body. Keep reminding yourself of it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So when you have that feeling of being a victim, it's okay. It's okay. I love you. It's fine. And then you just keep repeating that over and over and over. So you start to rewire your brain.
And when
Okay.
you get one of those moments where you realize that you've been selfing, and even if you immediately get angry about why is this happening again, notice that
Yeah.
and see if you can relax.
Mm.
Because
Okay.
that reaction about selfing is ironically more selfing than the original
I know.
selfing was, right?
I know.
So, exactly. So it's a reinforcing of that same basically default mode network kind of
Yeah,
activation.
I see.
So all we want to do is just relax, feel the spaciousness outside of the body, kind of feel
Okay.
outside of that, get some perspective that isn't centralized. You probably will notice when that happens, you're more attuned with feelings of tension in the chest, the throat, the face. You probably have more physical contractions there that you're aware of. You probably have some sort of thought in the mind that is seeing your body, seeing your face, some, even if it's not like a traumatic
Right.
recapitulation, there's something there that's reifying it. Just notice those things from that curious standpoint, and then see if you can feel outside the skin, feel outside
Okay.
the periphery, take in like
Yeah.
even relaxing the vision so that you go more peripheral. All of those things um, loosen that sense of the selfing that was going on, taking a deep breath, long, slow exhalation, bringing the nervous system down. All of those things are contributing to that sense of selfing that was going on.
Mhm.
So instead of getting on our case about it, it's more useful to just notice the components that were making that feeling of selfing happening, and then see,
Mhm.
can you actually just kind of relax out of it? And then what does
Mhm.
that tell you? If you can just do it that easily, then that self wasn't really there. That was just an assumption based off of a different set of contractions in the body and thoughts in the mind. So it doesn't matter whether they're there or not, ultimately. There's no
Yeah.
reality to them being there. And so there's no, in the spiritual world, we kind of have that idea, and depending on which tradition we're from, that it's like, we have to do this, we have to do this. But that just sets up that
Mhm.
there is such a feeling of failure when we don't notice it, or a feeling of ironically egoic gratification when we do. It's more important to just take that it's okay if it's there, it's okay if it's not stance, and just be curious about it, because otherwise we're just reinforcing that same egoic sense that
Mm.
is going to get something out of the process in the end.
I did have a little success earlier. I was on a meeting with my leader, and I was talking to her about the issues that I just told you guys about, and I was upset, and I was expressing my frustration and upset, and I thought to myself, you're selfing right now, you're selfing. And I told myself, it's okay. She doesn't know. She doesn't know you're selfing.
Great.
All of a sudden, I felt just fine. I'm like, okay, well, you're selfing. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
fine. You're okay.
I would also recommend a small change of framing too, because even when you say that you are selfing or I am selfing, that's still
Yeah.
implying, right? So just saying like selfing is happening,
Okay.
recognizing
Yeah.
this is a it's an impersonal mechanism which is going on, which creates that sense of a self. It's
Right.
like,
Okay.
you know, if you have a clock that's working, it's got like clockwork gears and mechanisms, you wouldn't be like, oh, that clock is clocking again, you know, like there
Yeah,
it
you're right.
goes. Like it's a mechanism. It is what it
Right.
does. This is the way we're wired. So it's just recognizing,
Right.
oh, that impersonal selfing pattern is happening again.
It's a bit
Yeah.
like Sam Harris, he has that with the self-driving car.
Yeah.
A self-driving car that is like going over, into a mailbox. You wouldn't be, on the case about that. It's just it didn't do it on purpose. It didn't went into the mailbox on purpose. It was just a mechanism that happened. And it's a bit the same with our selfing. And it's just because we are wired that way. So
Yeah.
becoming aware of it and keep coming back to equanimity is
Yeah.
really, really helpful.
Okay. Well, gosh, I
Thank you so
really do
much.
appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Oh,
thank you
really
so
glad
much.
you could
Thank
be
you so
here.
much.
Thanks, Susanna.
Well,
It's good
thank
to
you
see
for
you.
everything. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
I think we're gonna have Zoom user now,
Okay.
whatever Zoom user's name is, and then I would like Anda and Ahmed and Nicole. If you guys are gonna write down your names for the 7th, if you guys are there on the 7th, or for the 23rd, if you guys are there for the 23rd, and then we will start with you guys because I can feel I'm getting brain tired. This is a lot.
Yeah. Sorry, this is an abnormal week for us.
Yeah.
Well, you're very welcome, Daryl.
So we have Zoom user. I assume your name is different.
That would be a cruel parental trick to
Yeah, it would.
name your child Zoom
Did you
user.
write down the names?
Um,
Thank you.
yeah, I did.
Thank you.
So we have you on the screen, Zoom user.
We don't know what your
We don't
name
know what
is.
your name is though.
Where is
Still
your
muted.
mute?
It's still muted.
If you click the...
I'm asking you to unmute.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Nice to
Hi.
meet
Oh my
you.
God. Nice to meet you. Finally, nice talking to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What was
What's
your
your
name?
name?
My name is Basma.
Oh, hi.
That's my... Yeah, you have written to
Hey.
Todd. Right?
How are you?
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm so happy that I got to hear everybody go before me and I could relate to them. So just a whole learning experience. So I'm glad and I'm grateful. Um, what I want to talk about is mainly is stuff about practical non-duality.
Yeah.
I think I have been swimming in this, not really swimming, but learning how to swim in the ocean of non-duality that I came across. Uh, Honestly, I wasn't really looking for anything. I just came across non-duality on YouTube.
Wow.
Again, when I was doing mushrooms, so I can relate to that. So I just got my little notebook and I was just spending like the whole night going on self-inquiries, which I didn't even realize I was doing. Which I was just trying to go and see who is writing and
Yeah.
who is looking at it and who is seeing it. And so that was the first time when my mind was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
who am I then? So ever since that's the only thing I've been inspired by in life, to be honest.
I get that.
I want to be in that realm. I want to learn. I want to have a community that is into that stuff as well. What happened to me is I was doing these self inquiries and meditation. I started to learn meditation from scratch, and my life has gotten increasingly better.
Yeah.
I was managing for the first time in my life where I wake up without dread and without heart palpitations.
Oh, love it. Love it.
I never thought, I don't even remember the last time I actually felt like that. I don't. So uh, when it happened recently, I was just not alive. Um, but what happened is once I don't know how to integrate it to real life. I tried with just raw dogging it this whole 3 years. And I feel like I hold nicely, but then after just, for example, I went back to my country, which is Morocco, like in COVID. I was grown up Muslim, severe Muslim. Like I was not. I was raised in a very strict environment, so it was not allowing me as a woman to express myself. I wasn't even allowed to go out, stuff like that. You get the idea. It was a village in Morocco. So after I did the mushrooms and the self-inquiries and everything, I thought, oh, I think I'm strong enough to handle that. I think I'm gonna go. And little did I know, I was not strong at all. After 2 weeks of being in my family home and seeing the environment around me, the poverty, the kids in the streets, because now I live in the US. I've been living in the US for 8 years. So I felt like I was living in a parallel universe just by myself.
Yeah.
I could not. And in 2 weeks, I became the little girl again.
Yeah.
And that was heartbreaking for me because I really thought I saw through it. I really thought I would never go back to that state again. So that was humbling. And I came back to the US heartbroken from the realities because I felt like I was sheltered in the US. There's no poverty like that. Like you see, it's almost like chosen poverty here. It's not like that. So, but anyway, I know that life is hard for everyone, and this is like a blessing to be stumbling upon a concept like non-duality. But I feel like I am getting burned out because I'm alone in this, I feel like. And I feel like when I start to talk about non-duality or things like that, I annoy people in a way.
Yeah.
So I try to express it in art.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lovely.
wonderful.
Lovely. That's wonderful.
That really expanded, like music, paintings. I didn't even know where that came from. Yes, but I also need to take care of this body and shelter
Yes.
and
Yes.
food
Yes.
and everything. So I would really love some help or just support, just to know how can I integrate non-duality into a job or anything like that, so I can handle both
Yeah,
ways.
I absolutely. The first thing I want to say is that Ramdas, he has an amazing quote where he says, "Oh, you think you're enlightened? Go and spend 2 weeks with your family, or go spend a weekend with your family." I mean, it is a humbling experience, and no matter how awake you are, because
Yes.
we are coded, we have a certain code in us that is in our muscle, our ligaments, our tendons, and our fascia. It's in our entire being. And the moment your mom looks at you in a certain way, or your uncle, he does like that with the plate, you have experience after experience after experience about that, a coding after coding after coding. And that is what your body's reacting to. So you can be as enlightened as you can be, and your body will still react. To me, it was remarkable experiencing that I had to be reminded of, you used to react to this, now you don't anymore. So you can get there. You can get there, but you are absolutely right that it's about integration. You need to take those experiences and integrate them into the life and into your life. And it's why we created the awakening curriculum. It is practical non-duality. It is, how do you take this into a practical application in your everyday life? The second thing I want to say is, you're not alone. You're not alone. It might feel like that, but now you're in the community. You're not alone.
Have you joined Discord?
I'm actually illiterate in Discord. I joined it just for you,
Thank
but
you.
I didn't know how to
I
operate.
completely get it. I get it. Again, we should make an introduction video to how to do it. It's it can be overwhelming when you get in there, because we have a lot of people and we have a lot of topics and we're talking about all of it at the same time. So I completely get why that can be super, super overwhelming. If the first thing you can do is just to go in there and introduce yourself.
Go in the social chat and just introduce yourself.
Just introduce,
Just like that.
Yeah. And people will tell you this belongs in the first fetter, or this belongs in the higher fetters. If you go over here, then we can talk more about it there. And then they will help you in where to go. I also want to say that in Discord, the people that we have that are supporters when we have workshops and retreats, they're also in there. So if you would like to have a video chat with anybody, you have the opportunity on Discord.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So you're not alone. You're not alone in this.
Yes.
But I want to circle back to the part about integration. And it is important for you to use every single experience that you have that is giving a physical reaction, use that as an inquiry, as a tool for inquiry. And if you go to Unfettered Mindfulness on YouTube, we have all our inquiries and all of the meditations that you could ever need. There is inquiries for everything. Some of them are really, really profound, and you would need to do them multiple times to really, really get into the meat of it. And some of them I would recommend you to do when you're on shrooms, because they will give you a completely different level of experience with it.
Okay.
But it is basically whenever something is arising in your body and you feel a contraction or you feel a tension or you feel something that is giving you a feeling of dissonance that you are
Separation.
exactly, that is an opportunity for inquiry right now, in that moment, right now. Ask into what is it I'm feeling? You have a feeling in your body and then you have a thought about that feeling. Are those two connected? So, for example, if you have a feeling of fear, let's say, the thought about the situation you are in and the feeling in the body, are those two connected in any way? You will find that obviously they're not. It's two completely different things. So you are creating a lot of connection that is actually not there. Could you go more into that?
Yeah. So I am such a big proponent of like integrating inquiry into our daily life for exactly that reason. Because we do, if you're using psychedelics or if you're just really into meditation or like seated inquiry, you can have all sorts of amazing experiences and profound insights. But then when you get up off of the mat, a lot of times it is really hard to figure out how to place that in our daily world and in our interactions. So for me, the most important thing was basically constant insight. I mean, you don't have to take it to that extreme, but I found it very helpful when I was doing all of this stuff a lot. And still, even now, I mean, I feel like there's a constant state of like awareness that's there that is about or taking in everything in in a state where it's not identified with it, but is, functionally aware of the different layers of things that are going on. So, in other words, if you're just going about your day and you feel that you're like overtaken by any particular emotion, like Pernilla was saying, instead of just going along with, oh, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling excited, I'm happy, I'm, miserable, I'm scared, whatever it is, instead of taking that overlay about the experience as truth, you right then tune into your body, feel exactly which sensations, which contractions, which types of buzzing, whatever you're feeling, what is happening in the body right now that is contributing to that idea of being happy, sad, afraid, whatever else. And then also noticing what thoughts are there, and perhaps even which thoughts, if you can remember, were just kind of preceding that emotion, being aware of that, so that you can start to break those apart. And you can recognize that there are mental images happening. There's maybe a line of self-talk, a bunch of narration that's going on. Um, there is whole separate world of sensations down here. And, with um, some emotions, it can be a little bit extra complicated because we have our subconscious mind is taking in so much more than the conscious awareness is ever aware of. So the subconscious is, noticing millions of other things that never quite make it. They never are taken to be important enough to filter into this kind of conscious experience, but they're still informing the body. They're still sending what we think of as like intuitive gut signals, so we become aware that I feel something's off, but I don't know what. maybe it's because there is some dude in the corner that you haven't even recognized, but there's something a little bit strange about the way he's acting or the way he's dressed for this weather or whatever it is. Something registers, oh, alarm bells. You don't know what it consciously is, but you know there's something there. But just be aware that, okay, there's physical sensations here. Now, this, in some cases, it's actually really useful to pay attention to these because, they're there to keep us safe. They are there. They have evolved to have a purpose.
Yeah.
So having that balance of like being aware of why we're acting the way that we are and why we're feeling the way that we are, not identifying with it like, oh, I am terrified and it is because I have in the past and I have to. That's a second level of self-importance that we put on everything. Instead, we kind of just remain aware of exactly the way that the body is interacting with its environment, exactly the way that the mind is interacting with its environment. And it becomes impersonal. Like I was just talking to Susanna, it's like we see the kind of mechanistic nature of the way that the mind and the body are interacting with the environment in ways like trees are interacting with the environment. You can't see it with your eyes, but we know that, they're taking in
Yeah.
water through the roots and they're talking to each other through the mycelium and all of this stuff is going on and everything's connected. We're doing the same thing. We're not unique. We're not separate in any other way. It's just that extra idea that we have of personhood and separation and self-importance, and those are not connected to anything. We can see right through them when we actually start to see how the temperature in the room changes the way that the body feels and the way that it interacts differently because the temperature is warm in the room versus cold, right? There's constantly an interaction with all of the different elements around us, what time of day it is. All of these things are constantly impacting us. And so we just remain aware from that kind of state of meta awareness, where it's like I'm aware of thinking, but I'm not identified with the thoughts themselves. I'm aware of the bodily sensations and emotions, but I'm not feeling that they are my bodily sensations and emotions. It's coming up that extra step to where you're aware that all of this is happening, but you're not deeply, deeply tied to it and engaged with it in the same way that we normally would be.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I also wanted to add, like, I'm struggling with intuition, with
Yeah.
intuition and just projection, or just my brain projecting stuff based on past experiences,
Yes.
Yeah.
and they both have belong in the same feeling,
Yep.
the same area, like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
That's weird. Like I'm trying to be like, okay, this is intuition, this is red flags, this is green flags, or is it just me being scared trying to protect myself? I'm really trying to get
It's
into that.
actually really interesting. I heard a podcast this week where they talked about that it looks like now that what we take as intuition, it is a previous experience we have had that is stored subconsciously. So, like Todd said, we don't have a conscious experience about it, but we had a subconscious experience about it and it's stored. And now there's a recognition about it. And that is when the body reacts to what it is that we experience. So it looks like, we don't know yet, but it looks like that intuition, it's actually something you have previous experience and there is a memory about it in your body. And that is what you're reacting to.
True.
But
Yeah, I just have
again,
to.
what we then talked about afterwards is that it's just really important to remember that you are not the same Beshman now as you were when you experienced it. So that intuition that comes up now, it was stored in a different viscera. It was stored in a different body, in a different mind, in a different psychology, in a different everything. So whatever is coming up underneath and reminding you of might not be relevant now. There
That's
might,
what I suspected. Yeah.
exactly, it might be an opportunity for healing, you know?
Mm, okay. Okay.
It does
That's
take, yeah, it takes practice to really be
right.
aware of like in a situation, not taking everything at first um
As face
at
value.
face value. Yeah. And it is tough because I mean we do talk about like the body yes, body no, and having that kind of gut feeling is oftentimes a bit more trustworthy in a way to what our real
Yeah, conscious decision,
yeah
because then we start with our socialization and all of that. You might have a gut feeling, no, I don't want to go to that party, and then you think, oh, I have to, and last time I canceled, and what would they think if I don't go? And then that is like that conscious intellectual thinking where the body is very clear, nope, I don't want to go.
So I trust the body.
It is the first
you
step. It
yeah
is the first
yeah
step,
Oh,
but it's you cannot land there.
yeah
It's the first step for you to start to become more intuitive about your body reactions, because that is a nervous system programming on a deeper level than the conscious, socialized, but you were raised to be a good girl and all of that.
um,
That needs to go. So a good starting point is to listen to the body, to what it feels, a body yes, body no, like we talk about in the curriculum. But
yes,
it's not,
absolutely.
you cannot stay there. It needs to be a raft that you use to get from one mode to another mode. But when you have arrived at the other mode, that needs to go too. And then what? But we take it when you get there.
Yeah.
yeah
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I'm just letting it sink in, and I visualize things, so I'm literally looking at the rafts and just going to the.
Exactly.
yeah
The Buddha has a really, really good metaphor where he talks about that you go to a river and you take a raft and you cross the river with the raft, but then you need to leave the raft at the bank. You're not carrying the boat with you, and it's that. So go from what you were consciously raised to be a good girl into the body, what feels like a body yes, body no, react with that, and then you use that raft to get to the other side. But when that is then, gut reaction right away, no, I don't want to go. Yes, I do want to go. No, I don't want to eat. Yes, I feel like eating. When that is absolutely your new starting point,
yeah
then we have another raft for you, because you can't rest there. You cannot rest there.
we use and
It's
discover a
constant
lot
motion.
in this past
Exactly. We have, like Todd says, we have a lot of rafts that we use, and you get to the next level, and then you discard of it, and then there's something else that you do. But it
I
will
was
still,
carrying so many rafts. I feel like I was carrying them. Oof. All right.
it's exhausting if we try and it's the issue with all of this stuff is that a lot of times like we'll say something which is suited to one person specifically and where they are, but that is for the river that they're crossing at this moment. Meanwhile, somebody else hears it and they think it applies to them, but they're actually crossing a different river. They need a different raft. And
it,
so
it is one of the things
yeah
that are really complicated with YouTube.
yeah
And it's also why I have made the awakening curriculum so structured as it is, because you
Mhm.
get the raft for where you're at right now.
Yes, correct. I did it like 5 times already, but I do feel like I have trouble learning sometimes. And I've seen your video where you explain the signs of autism and ADHD,
Yeah.
and I feel like I should finally like just open myself to it because I've been struggling with some stuff that look like common sense to other
Yeah.
people, but I'm just it's becoming more apparent the more I grow up, the
Yeah.
more I'm I'm feeling off a little bit
Yeah.
with things. But I do notice that I have superpowers as well. If I have these conditions, it come with a superpower as well. So I'm
Yeah.
not
Yes.
I'm not bad. Yes,
yep
and I'm also thinking that it has a lot of I'm not, I have no idea, but it has a lot to do with early on traumas. Like I've
Yes.
been through traumas as
Yeah.
well, like in the
Yeah.
developmental age. So and I guess I was trying to all this time to prove myself that I'm a great survivor, and that didn't affect me. But I do think I have some brain stuff
Yeah.
that happens. For example, someone gives me instructions, my brain goes into the raft, whatever you call it goes. It's in Honolulu, it's in Hawaii, it's not there anymore. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
yeah
happens honestly. But then I can hyper focus on something if I love it. I
yep
can find myself spending like hours on it, and so I
And
yeah
time just flies. It sounds
yeah
very, very spectrumy.
yeah it does
very spectrum
it's very
indeed.
effective
It does.
yeah
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm so glad that because sometimes they have bad like you are Pernille, you studied like neuroscience, right?
yeah.
Well,
And
not,
you didn't
Not
know.
not not not
not,
specifically, not specifically, but
well, not, I mean, you did the body therapies
yeah.
and naturopathic. She's a naturopathic doctor. And
And I'm a psychosomatic therapist as well.
That's cool. And when did you decide to go through these tests, like to get actual diagnosis? Like you
Oh
just went through.
God. No, no, no. No, no. That was I got my official diagnosis in 2020.
Wow, that's very recent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I was convinced that I wasn't autistic because autism is boys sitting in the corner playing with trains. It's not me.
Mm,
Because I'm
right.
I'm just I'm just a bit, eccentric. I'm a bit
Yeah.
just a bit like, different, you know.
And
So
a little more.
no, and the first time the idea was floated to me was one of my students back in 2008. He was working with autistic children and he was like, I think you're Asperger's. And I was like, no. But I didn't do anything about it until 2020. And that was,
Yeah.
I had a brain injury. And then there was a neuropsychologist that said, I think this is more autism that is actually brain injury. I think you should get an assessment.
Wow.
Yeah.
After many years, just like that.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
okay. Well, I'm gonna try. Not that there's a cure or there's like anything, but just to know, maybe it would help. Just so I can tell people, hey, don't take things personally. I have this condition. Not that it's gonna change anything, but to at least acknowledge it, maybe
It's
because.
more an inside job, to be honest with you. It's more about you acknowledging to you, and you don't need a diagnosis for that. If you acknowledge, okay, I am like this. If you talk to me that way, I cannot hear what you say. You need to, for example, if people are very loud, I can't hear what they say. So I
Yeah.
can say, I can't understand what you say. Could you speak a bit lower with your decibel? If
Right.
people shout, I can't understand. I'm completely off.
or if people on the screen, she needs people to have their cameras on so
If
she
you don't
can
have your
see.
camera on, I know it. I can't speak on the phone. So a lot of phone calls, all phone calls, Todd, he take, and I'm sitting next to, and then I can look at him. What did I say? Because I can't understand it. So, and you don't need a diagnosis for that. It's just acknowledging I don't speak on the phone. If I can see your lips and I can see your facial expressions, then I understand what you say, and I pick up
That
on
makes sense.
much, much more than people
Yeah.
do just with words.
Right. That makes perfect
So it's
sense.
more an inside job. It's more
Hmm.
you starting to get to know you and acknowledge where are your boundaries and be
Yes.
true to them. And
And
then
not feel bad about them. That's the
no,
thing I
why
want
no,
to
why
as
would
well.
you? Why
Yeah.
why it's just a boundary. You don't have to feel bad.
Right. Because I've been this way for so long, and it's joyful for some people. Like I'm the clown, class clown for my whole life.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah,
So and so I'm somebody that people come to when they're going through stuff,
yeah.
or sometimes they're not even going through stuff. I can tell, and I'm just there sitting just to can listen, and they can
Yes.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I feel like I don't know how to ask for help, and if I just come out and be like, hey, I have these issues. I don't know how anybody's gonna take person. I think they're not gonna even take it seriously. I do say I suspect I have either autism or ADHD. They tell me no.
Yeah.
Oh,
It is a normal reaction for people to go, no, no, you don't. Because particularly people in your life, because they would have to change a lot of them and their perception of you. You only exist as their perception of you.
Yeah.
You
mm,
don't exist as you. You exist in them as their perception of you. And if you're different than that, they have to change, and they're not willing to do that. And it's also why start out with having, you acknowledge you, that this is a boundary and it's just where it is, and that's fine. And you are okay with that. The rest is secondary.
perfect. Thank you so much.
And
Appreciate
you're not
that.
alone, sweetheart. You're not alone. We are all here for you.
I appreciate that. I will join Discord and I will try my best to get into it. But
Yeah.
Thank you.
love to meet and make friends with everybody here. And if anybody in the US, holler or Morocco, and it will be super fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
Amazing.
Thank you so much. I'll let somebody else come in.
No,
come in
no,
here.
I have had enough for today.
But I just want
Oh,
to make sure.
thank you.
So did I send you the actual link to Discord?
Yes, I
Okay.
emailed you personally and you sent it
Okay.
to me.
Okay.
And did you log in already using the link?
I'm gonna log in now.
Okay,
I'm
because
gonna.
I was going to say
That's what.
the links do expire. I can't remember. I've had a lot of people recently, and I forget time wise when I have
Right.
sent what to
Can
whom.
you
So
post
if
it
it's
in the chat right now so everybody can click
yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
it, invite people. It was up there.
No, I always do it this way.
Okay, so we are putting a link in the chat now. For anybody who's not on Discord, click this link now because it expires.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So click on the link now, and then you can do the sign-in process and all of that afterwards.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. It was great. It was great talking with you.
Hope you appreciate
Hope
it.
to
Thank
see you again
Thank you so
next
much.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so much. I just want to write. You did.
I did.
You're such a good boy.
Thank you. Okay, I just
Thank
wanted
you,
to
you guys. Yeah.
quickly skim through the comments and make sure we didn't miss anything. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. And I'm sorry that I'm not answering all questions. We continue on the 7th and on the 23rd. Yeah, I need to go out and sit with the
Yeah.
chipmunks.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I think we. Oh, that's nice. Um. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone. Oops. Sorry about that. We look forward to seeing you all on the 7th at
On the
POK.
7th at POK, and see you on Discord, and see you on the 23rd here. And it's the same link.
Yes.
It's the same link.
All right. Thank you,
So good
everyone.
seeing all of you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
being
very
here.
much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.